What's up guys, welcome back to another video. I'm here to give my observations and review of the sprint qualifying session at the Chinese Grand Prix. It was easily one of the most unpredictable sessions that we've had this season so far, from grasses catching on fire to then the track being drenched in rain. I mean, there's already quite a lot to unpack for it being a sprint qualifying session, so without any further ado, let's get right into the video guys. Williams struggled to cope with competition. Williams should have been pretty good around Shanghai considering the long back straight, which should help the team recover some of the deficit that they could face against its competition through the corners. But both the Williams being knocked out of SQ1 was a bit of a surprise for me. Could this mean that Williams could struggle to even get near points this weekend? We'll have to wait and watch. Or could this just be something related to setup related issues? Well, we'd have to wait and watch to see how the weekend unfolds for Williams. Have Alpine's upgrades failed? With Alpine bringing in a new floor and a chassis to the A524 to Ocon's car only, it was a bit of a surprise for me to see that his teammate Gasly with the older spec car was able to outqualify him. Does this mean that Alpine has officially become the Aston Martin of 2024, where with each upgrade the car gets progressively slower and slower? A car that is already one of the slowest this season? Stroll is out in SQ2 again. Stroll, after topping the timing sheets at FP1, I thought that this could be the weekend in which he could have a redemption for all his poor performances this season so far. But he decides to continue his streak of not making it into the top 10 shootout and gets knocked out in SQ2. Yes, the rain at the end did catch a lot of drivers off guard, but the thing is that with all the data, the team and the drivers would be very much aware of the rain being in the horizon. So every lap mattered for a driver like Stroll. After having such a weak performance at the Japanese Grand Prix, it was very crucial for him to step up at the Chinese Grand Prix, a track in which he has raced before, to display a strong showing. And it's a bit of a disappointment that so far he has not shown any sign of improvement under a competitive session. Ricciardo improves. The Chinese Grand Prix is a very important race for Daniel Ricciardo. With him getting a brand new chassis as he requested, the Australian driver has zero excuses to make anymore for his lackluster performance this season. And as a sign of showing improvement, he has officially outqualified his teammate for the first time in 2024 to get into SQ2, which I think is a good confidence booster for the Australian driver. Keeping in mind that this is a track in which he has won before, there could be no reason for him to have a worse race than his teammate, for whom it would be the first time here out at Shanghai. Both the Saubers make it into the top 10. With Sauber timing it absolutely right with the rain, both the cars have made it into the top 10 shootout for the sprint race. I think it's a very solid showing from Sauber, who I believe has a car that should and could have finished in the points already a couple of times this season so far. Considering that the sprint race doesn't require a pit stop, the team could focus on how to move forward from P9 and P10 to hopefully score their first points of the season. Red Bull shines and struggles at the same time. First of all, let me get this out of the way. I think the RB20 looks so much better and cleaner without the Bybit sponsoring. And now coming back to the performance of the car, well, the car looked very much poised and competitive under dry racing conditions, clearly ahead of the field. But as the session progressed to wet conditions, the RB20 seemed to suffer to gain traction out of corner exits, and that caused for both the drivers to finish the sprint qualifying P4 and P6 respectively. I'm sure under racing conditions the team should be able to move forward up the field to finish higher up, but the problem is getting a clean start of the line and actually making it across turn 1 to turn 3 sequence, which could get pretty chaotic. But the car's performance in the dry condition was pretty promising, which means that we could have some pretty competitive racing for the race wins for both the sprint and the feature race. And I'm sure that the competition will not make it any easy for the Bulls to storm through the field. Lando and Lewis shine in the wet. Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton take P1 and P2 for the sprint race start by acing their wet weather racing skills, with Lando taking pole by about 1.2 seconds over Lewis Hamilton in P2. I think it was a very strong showing from McLaren, specifically from Lando Norris. Though the pace of both the McLaren and the Mercedes was nowhere near the Bulls under dry condition, but as the conditions turned to damp, both the MCL38 and the W15 seem to have come to life under the hands of Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton to take pole and P2. If the sprint race tomorrow ends up happening under a damp condition, I'm sure that we'll have a very interesting race for the win tomorrow, which could be very exciting. Alonso pushes to P3. Alonso again shows his skill of outdriving the car. I mean, he managed to pull the AMR 24 up to P3, which I think is a very solid showing, and I really wonder what is the real pace of the AMR 24. Is Alonso outdriving the AMR 24 to make it look as good as it is, or is it just Lance Stroll not being good enough? But Alonso managed to put himself at the sharp end of the field to have a clean start to stay ahead of the chaos that could happen at the race start at lap 1. Carlos Sainz outshines Charles Leclerc again. Carlos yet again reigns supreme in the head-to-head battle between teammates by outqualifying his teammate Charles Leclerc for the sprint race, who has had a pretty rough start to the weekend, with him being the only driver who glazed the barrier at the sprint shootout as the situation started getting damp. Sainz is quietly having the best time of his final year at Ferrari to make his case even stronger to get a better offer for 2025. So yes guys, these are my observations of the sprint qualifying, and it was easily one of the most interesting, dramatic sessions that we've had this season so far. And it was lovely to see these Formula 1 cars go racing around this track. It is one of those tracks that carries so much memory and legacy of old school Formula 1. The marks left by the legend of the past with their V10 and V8 cars will always evoke a very special feeling in us. And with us returning to this track after 5 years with these ground effect cars for the first time, it was just amazing. And the weekend so far has been very nostalgic for me, and I'm here for it. I'm excited for tomorrow's sprint race and for the feature race qualifying, and I hope you are too. So yes guys, with that being said, I would like to wrap up this video, and I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and let me know down in the comments on what are your thoughts on the sprint shootout of the Chinese Grand Prix. I'm curious to know. With that being said, subscribe to the Red Master channel if you haven't already, and also hit that bell icon while you're at it so you get notified whenever I upload a brand new video. And until next time, it's me Vinesh from Red Master, and I'm out. Love you guys, stay safe, peace.